Okay, so today what we're going to talk about are parallel and perpendicular lines. So I want you guys to take a look at the graphs. I want you to try to tell me what you noticed about the graphs and see if you can find the slopes by counting them. Okay, so I'll give you a minute to do that. So put me on pause. Okay, so hopefully you figured out that these two lines here in this first group, this line A, I'll call it, and line B, that they never intersect each other. So that means that they are parallel lines. And hopefully you counted the slope. So just pick 2 points on the line and count the rise over the run. So let's take a look at finding the slope for line A. So I'm going to pick this point right here and this point right here, and it's up 1 to the right 2. So my slope is 1/2. And let's find the slope of line B. So pick a point on the line. So I'm going to pick this point right here and this point right here. And this one is also up 1 to the right 2. So what do you notice about parallel lines? Well, parallel lines, they have the same slope. So when these slopes are the same, my lines are parallel. So remember the parallel symbol is 2 slanted lines there. And we'll write that down in a minute. So let's take a look at the other picture over here. So I have line C and line D. Hopefully you came up, besides that they cross each other, that they are actually perpendicular to each other. Remember to make lines, show lines are perpendicular, put a box in that corner right there. Okay, so these are perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines, remember, form right angles. So let's put that down, perpendicular. So they are perpendicular lines. All right, so let's find the slope. Let's start with the slope for line C. Remember, it's the rise over the run, so I'm going to count. I'm going to use this this point right here, I believe I'm going to use. And let's find another point. Make sure it hits a box, so it looks like this one right here. All right, so to count, it's the rise over the run. So it's up 1, 2, 3, and to the left 2. So it's negative because it's going down to the right. So my slope of line C is -3/2. Remember, it was up 3 to the left 2. So let's take a look at finding the slope for line D. All right, so let's put our pen right here on. I'm going to use this one right here. And it looks like I have to use this one here. All right, so my slope is, I'm going to go up 2 to the right 3. So it's up 2 to the right 3. So what do you notice about these two slopes? What do you notice about perpendicular lines? Well, these slopes, in order for the lines to be perpendicular, remember this is the perpendicular symbol, it's that upside down T. These slopes they're the flip of one another, and one's positive and one's negative. They're called negative reciprocal slopes. All right, so let's take a look at our notes down here. All right, so we have parallel lines we're going to start off with. So parallel lines have equal slopes. So as long as you have your slopes are the same exact slopes, the lines will be parallel to each other. All right, let's take a look at the example here. It says write the slope intercept form. Remember, slope intercept form is y equals mx plus b, because I'm finding the slope and the y-intercept of a line that passes through the given point. So we're going to go through 8, 5. And is parallel to this line here. So remember, in order for it to be parallel to this, it has to have the same slope. So the first thing I want to do is I want to take this line and put it in y equals form. So I'm going to start off by minusing 6x. And I get -3y equals -6x plus 4. And then divide by -3. So I get y equals negative 6 divided by negative 3 is positive 2. So I have positive 2x minus 4/3. And I'm going to leave that like that because I really don't care about the y-intercept. What I care about is the slope. So what is my slope here? My slope is 2, or 2 over 1. So my parallel slope, it has to be the same thing. In order for them to be parallel, I have to have the same slope, so it's going to be 2. So this is what I know so far, that using the form y equals mx plus b, and I'm going to write my equation. I'm going to plug in my slope because I know my slope has to be 2. So it's going to be y equals 2x plus b. But I need it to go through this point over here. So I have to plug in that point into x and y. So my y is 5 equals 2 times my x, which is 8, plus b. And now I'm going to solve for b. So 5 equals 16 plus b, minus 16. 5 minus 16 is negative 11, and that's my b value. Now I can write my equation, and my equation is y equals, remember my slope has to be parallel, so I use 2x minus 11. Okay, so let's take a look at perpendicular lines. So flip the page over, please. Okay, so what did we say that perpendicular lines have? So they don't have the same slope. So if you look back on the other side, the slopes were the fraction flipped and negative. So those are called negative reciprocal slopes. So it's the flip of the other fraction and you change the sign to its opposite. So if it's positive, it'll be negative. If it's negative, it's positive, and you just flip the fraction. All right, so we have here, let's look at the example. Write the slope-intercept form. Remember, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Of the equation that goes through the given points, I'm still using 8, 5, and it's perpendicular to this line here. So the first thing I'm going to have to do is put the line in y equals mx plus b form so that I can identify the slope. So same thing, I'm going to minus 6x. So I have negative 3y equals negative 6x plus 4. Divide by negative 3. I get y equals 2x minus 4/3. All right, so what is my slope here? My slope is 2. But what I want is my perpendicular slope. Now, in order for my lines to be perpendicular, I have to take the fraction. So to make 2 a fraction, we just make it 2 over 1. So I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to have my slope is 1 over 2, and I have to change the sign from positive to negative. So my slope is negative 1/2. All right, so let's plug that into the equation over here. So I have y equals negative 1/2 x plus b, and now I have to find b. In order to find b and have it go through this point, this is the point I have to plug in for x and y. All right, so my y is 5 equals negative 1/2 x, which is 8, plus b. So 5 equals negative 1/2 times 8. Well, I can reduce the 2 and the 8 to 1 and 4, so that makes it negative 4 plus b. And then I'm going to add 4. So my b is equal to 9. So my equation now is y equals, remember I want perpendicular, so I have to use that slope, negative 1/2 x plus 9. All right, and that's it. So have a good night. See you tomorrow.